Hey guys, this is Parney here from Dash Car Productions, and today we got a Subaru Forester, a 2019. I believe it's the convenience trim. The reason why I have this car is because of my WRX is still in the dealership. Bit of an update there is they're going to open up the transmission again and change out the reverse fork, and hopefully that should fix everything up. So today I'm going to do a quick little review on this car and see how it is. So I believe in 2019 they did a refresh. The 2020 and the 2021 that's coming out are going to look very similar, just some minor changes. So it's going to be a very familiar cabin. So I've had this SUV for about 1 week, and for the people that know me, you guys know I hate SUVs. I think you can get a lot of the functionality out of, for example, a Honda Civic. For most people, most family, I think a Honda Civic is absolutely fine. You don't need a big hulking SUV. And of course it depends on the family situation. So my perception was I'm gonna hate this off the bat. Now when I first started driving this, I was like, I don't really like it. And one of the first things that I noticed right away is that it has a CVT transmission. So the CVT transmission, it's actually really weird a bit. It feels very rubber bandy. Like when I'm off throttle or putting throttle on, it feels a little lackluster. It's not direct. There's a little bit of pull, push, like literally a rubber band effect, which feels really weird. But after having it for a few days, I actually really don't mind it at all. I had to change my mentality because I'm really a car enthusiast. I have a WRX, and I'm all about shifting my own gear and really being into my car. But after a few days driving this, I realized I had to change my mentality. Like, this is not an enthusiast car. This is meant for to be very practical. So it's not meant to go fast. It's supposed to be more comfortable, and that's what I feel from this car. Like now I'm driving around, it's really roomy, a lot of air around me. It's very comfortable. I mean, the interior reminds me of the WRX. A lot of the same knobs, the touchscreen infotainment system is very similar. The gauges are very similar. Has the dual dashes, so it's a very familiar place for me. Subaru doesn't make the nicest interiors, but it's very functional, very easy. It's not overwhelming. Now the steering wheel is a bit overwhelming, to be fair. There's a lot going on, but once you figure out, it took me like 20 minutes to figure it out. It all kind of makes sense. There's a digital screen in the middle which you control by these two little arrows down here, and then the screen up top here, the small one here, you control by the info button. So it's a bit confusing how do you change everything, but once you figure it out, it makes good sense. Now the top screen over here gives you some information like your station, your fuel economy. That's probably the one you're gonna leave for most of the time. There's a clock, and there's also some other useless stuff like steering angle, and one of the screens shows how much the tires are turning or what degree it's pointing up or down the car. Kind of useless unless you're going off-road, going on hills, things like that. And there's a couple things I don't like about the interior. One is the two lights on top are white, and the one in the middle here is yellow. So you have this off color that doesn't really make sense, and that's really annoying. They should make it consistent. Either have them both the yellow lights or have them both the white lights. So I find that very odd when I'm looking at it. You get two different lights on it. And also the cubby in the front here, it's kind of useless because it's so small. Nowadays phones are huge, and my phone doesn't even fit in there, so it's really pointless. I mean, for this 2019 model, they should have put a much bigger spot there. So that's a bit annoying. This thing does have heated seats, which are nice. This model here, the convenience package, it does have the cloth seats. They're comfortable, they feel good, but I think the colors are pretty ugly in this model, so it's not very nice, but they do feel good. I'm sure different trims will have different colors, and obviously you can get leather, which would be a lot nicer for sure. Now you have noticed it's a really ugly day, and today is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving everyone. Now this car here has about 182 horsepower and about 176 pound-feet of torque. It's pretty damn slow. It's about 0 to 60 in 8.2 seconds. Not the fastest thing in the world, but it kind of comes back to my earlier points. Does it need to be fast? Absolutely not. Having this thing, like I said, for about a week and going the highway, it's been perfectly fine. I don't have the urge to go fast. Like, I'm just cruising. I'm not doing any pulls because I don't need to do pulls. I also was carrying some big boxes in the back here, and it's so nice, to just open the trunk, put a seat down, and just throw them in. There's so much room. It's really, really easy to haul things around. Now, like with all Subaru, this is all-wheel drive, which is standard. I think this thing starts around base model for $29,000. And if you're if you're a kind of person that doesn't want all the creature features, you can go as a base model. You're gonna get everything you need. So it's actually a really good price. Now, comparing to all the other models with the all-wheel drive, or like Mazda, or like the CR-V, they're about $3,000-$4,000 more. So that's a big difference if you do want the all-wheel drive system in those brands. So it's really good value here. And comparing to all the other models, like power-wise, they're all actually around 180 horsepower. I mean, they're all producing a little different. For example, the CR-V does have the turbo, so you might get that turbo push that might make it feel a little faster. But I'm gonna give it some gas here. Yeah, it's good enough. It's nothing to write home about. That's all you really need. That's all you really need. My wife has a Honda Civic, and I would say this accelerates a lot faster than the Honda Civic. Now, I put around about 500 kilometers on it since I've had it, maybe a bit less, and my fuel rating it's 7.9 now. So that's not bad for doing a lot of city driving. I believe my mom's Honda Civic, which is a 2017, gets about 8.4 in the city. So for this big piece of hunk, right, it's huge, it's SUV, it does really well. Obviously, I'm babying it. I don't have an urge to go fast in it, so I'm just taking my sweet time. So it's really good that way. And as going here in a slow residential area, around 40-50 kilometers, it feels great. The suspension is very supple, and it's very quiet too. Let's go to the main road here and see how it feels. Yeah, it picks up plenty. Speed is not an issue here. You're not going to get that big force, that big G-force in this car, but you don't really need it for an SUV. It's plenty. Now, the transmission here, you might notice I have some paddles here. At first, I thought it was completely useless. So what's the point of having paddle shifting? Because they simulate the gear shift. It's all fake, and it's really weird how it changes. It's not intuitive. It's not hard and like a dual clutch. But what I found how I use it is that when I want to pass someone, and I'm in the right lane, I want to go in the left lane and pass this person, I'll drop it down a couple gears and give it some gas, and that prepares the car to be in the right gear and give power right away, versus planting it, then we go, right? So in this case, I'm driving around 1, 2, and go. So it's a lot faster that way. So that's how I've been using the paddle shifting. I think that's a very useful way to use it. Like, you're not gonna use the paddle shiftings in the back road in the mountains, going up and down shifting. That's not gonna happen. Don't kid yourself. So it's overall it's pretty useless, but I wanted a way to make it useful. Now, the style of this car, it's really, really boring. It looks a little outdated in my opinion. Now, there is a sport trim which looks really, really nice. It does have some nice red lines and a black grille, which really makes it look a lot more sportier. So that trim there does look really nice, but otherwise, if it's not in that combination, it looks old, looks outdated. It looks very boring. It's nothing inspiring. The front, yeah, it's kind of the back, the sides, it's very SUV. It's not a very unique thing. So Subaru's playing it very safe with this, and I think that's a good thing in this car. Comparing it to the other ones, CR-V, I just think it's butt ugly, in my opinion. Sorry for CR-V fans. The Mazda CX, I believe it's the CX-3, that to me actually looks like one of the nicest ones in this kind of category, because they're all around the $30,000 price. So it's a very, very competitive market, and you guys have a lot of choice. So I think overall, like, it's a boring car, but it's not ugly. I think the RAV4 looks really nice, and the Mazda look really nice as well. But I haven't test drove those cars, so there's plenty of space in the back. It's very comfortable. This car has this Subaru eyesight assistant. I'm actually surprised how well it works. It's really, really good. There are times where I'm driving 50 kilometers and then there's a lot of traffic in front, and it detects that the cars in front are actually going really slow, and it applies a little bit of brake and makes a warning sign. So I thought that was really, really cool, and it works really, really well. It's on point. And I did test it a little bit going really close to a car, which you guys shouldn't do because these systems are not bulletproof. When I got really close to it, it hit the brakes hard and shut it down. It made a lot of noises, started vibrating. So it tells you that, hey, hit that brakes. So the system works really, really, really well. And I have heard that Subaru's eyesight system is one of the best. And I can see why. It's really well done. Like, for example, my mom has a Honda Civic, and the only thing that thing does is it just beeps. Like, your big sign will come, brake, 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 but it won't actually like put the brake pressure on. Like, you still have to be alert and slam the brakes. Well, this thing will do it for you. It does have the lane assist as well. So if the car detects that I'm off the line, it's gonna make a sound and automatically correct it. Now, if I'm in cruise control, the system will actually keep the car in the middle. So I can let go of the steering wheel and it'll make slight adjustments as the road curves. Now, here's a turn coming up. That was pretty good. So back to the cruise control. And it also has adaptive systems. So I can set it to be X amount of car lengths behind the car and the speed will fluctuate. So if I put it for 100 kilometers, but it's saying that a car is nearby and we're like 3 car lengths away, and that front car is going 90 kilometers, it's gonna stay at 90 kilometers. If that car speeds up to 100, this car will speed up to 100 as well. So that's really, really cool. So it makes for like long highway cruises a lot more enjoyable, a lot more chill and relaxed. Now, earlier I did a pretty sharp turn there, and I'm pretty impressed how well this thing handles. I thought it was gonna be very floaty, very feel like a boat, not very responsive. But what I found is that, taking turns at a pretty decent speed, it's pretty darn flat. It's surprisingly flat. Now, obviously, comparing to WRX, there's not. No, that's a totally different platform. But like, if you can do some, decent speeds in a turn, it handles so well and it keeps the body so well balanced as well. Like, you're not getting that floaty bumpiness, right? You take a turn, and we'll do that right now. Like, it's flat. It's crazy. Very well done. I'm very surprised how well the suspension is done in this car. It's very, very impressive. They did a really, really good job. Now, we gotta check our turning radius here. I'm at a dead end. That does have the backup camera. Now, in my WRX, it also has a backup camera, but it just shows a line. So as I'm steering or moving the steering wheel around, there's 2 lines here that show me where the car will turn. In the WRX, it doesn't have that. I actually don't know why the WS doesn't have that. It's actually a feature that I really like. So it helps you just align the car a lot better. Now, this car has a auto start stop system, which I appreciate. It actually tells you how long the car has been sitting for and how many milliliters that your car has saved. So this car has been turned off at a stoplight or in traffic for 40 minutes and 40 seconds. It had saved me 965 milliliters. I don't know if that's good or bad. So that doesn't sound like a lot. So I was thinking, like, is this system really useful? Does it really help? I don't know. So you might have heard of the car just beep at me. That's because I moved the car a little bit to the right, and it showed that I'm crossing the main white line, and it's alerting me. It didn't make any adjustments, but it did alert me. Now, if I kept going further out, it is going to make that adjustment. So the auto start, as I was saying, it's not really annoying. It does take half a second, to start up again. So as you let go of the brake, the car starts up again. You put a little gas and you go forward. It obviously is not as smooth as just having the car running. And if you just hate that feature, you can just turn it off. So it's no biggie. And if it's gonna save you some fuel, well, why not, right? And I guess if you're in really heavy traffic, like if there's an accident, you're stuck, I can see it saving fuel then. So let's floor it. Yeah, no, it's good enough. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. It's not making me laugh like I usually do or pull you back, none of that stuff, but it gets going. Like, it's definitely faster than my wife's 2010 Honda Civic for some perspective. So it's got a little bit of oomph. Like I said, if you're buying this car and you're just wondering if you only care about the power, this is not the car you want. You're gonna have to get into the Audis and spend like $50,000-$60,000 for a little more power on that one. So do I recommend this car? It really depends, because it's such a competitive segment that you have tons of options. you can really pick what car you want, like to match your personality, right? There's totally different styles, you know, there's different ways of how each manufacturer comes at this segment. You know, the interior might be nicer than a Mazda, CR-V might be a little more faster. Subaru, you get the all-wheel drive system at a base price. So it really depends. If you buy this car, you're gonna be happy with it. Absolutely, you're gonna be happy with it for sure. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, I really appreciate if you guys subscribe. That'll be great, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.